9 years old and handcuffed at school. A special needs student is now speaking out after school police put him in those cuffs.
His mom wants answers, and Vegas Lost is working to get them. John Trainer is here with that.
When we heard Kayden Carter's story, we were shocked. So young, handcuffed because teachers say he was out of control. When we started asking why a special needs student was put in cuffs, we learned Kayden is not the only one.
Focus, you guys.
Caden Carter can tell you everything about Marvel movies. His favorite cartoon, Dragon Ball Z. Ask him what the worst part of school is. The work. Caden is your typical 9-year-old boy. Until the day he wasn't. Until the day he was handcuffed to his desk.
When you see your teachers, or when you see any teacher, are you worried or afraid of them?
Worried. I don't like any other teacher. I don't like teachers. I don't like school.
When you see a police officer,
I hate them. All of them.
Caden is a special needs student. He has ADHD and ODD. It can be difficult to hold his attention. When he wants something done, he wants it done immediately. He's been picked on, bullied by other students. After one verbal fight just before Thanksgiving, teachers told his mom Caden was out of control. They had to call school police. It was the third time the 9-year-old student was put in handcuffs.
I asked the assistant principal who was standing there, and I said, you know, why is my son handcuffed? Can you guys take these off of him? I said, I'm here now. He's calm. He's sitting on the floor. You know, wasn't nothing else. He's not harming himself or anybody else. So he told me no.
they wouldn't take
They would not take the handcuffs off of him.
Teachers are allowed to restrain students. It's for their own safety or the safety of others. They're supposed to be trained on how to restrain a kid. Mechanical restraints are legal as well. And it turns out it happens a lot. Our look at numbers from the state show that over the last 2 years, thousands of students have been restrained by school staff. So there's the legal way and there's the illegal way. They're called aversive interventions, and it turns out that happens a lot too. Clark County Schools violated state law 64 times in 2016, 36 times in 2017, 23 times so far this school year. Each time they do it, they have to tell parents and file a report with the state. That report must include a plan to make sure it doesn't happen again. We wanted to know what happens to a teacher who illegally restrains a disabled student. We wanted to ask school officials that question, but our requests for interviews were never returned. The state says a teacher can be suspended or have their license revoked. Our school district follows what's called progressive discipline, which means 2 warnings. The third time is when the suspension happens. But none of that happened in Caden's case because he wasn't restrained. He was handcuffed.
He's not a criminal. He needs help. He has a disability.
Caden's mom pulled him out of school, tried to get him transferred, but the district would not do it. She hired an attorney who tells us Caden may have been handcuffed more than the 3 times we were told. Their search found out that school police were called for Caden 7 times in 2018. When we looked into that, we found out it's not unusual. A school police spokesperson told us that they're called to schools every day. It's common for them to put handcuffs on special needs students for the safety of them or the people around them. But there are no records on how often, and we might know why. When a teacher needs to restrain a student, they run the risk of breaking state law, filing reports and action plans. If they call school police, even if a student is handcuffed, no report has to be filed. There is one police report in Caden's case, the one his mom filed. In June, 2 teachers grabbed Caden with such force he strained his shoulder. School police were called. They asked detectives to investigate. No charges were filed.
What do you want for your son?
I want the services that he needs. I want him to be able to read.
I want to read and spell.
A big goal there for that 9-year-old. We are following along with his case, but we were looking for others. The same attorney that represents him has 4 or 5 other cases of kids who were handcuffed in the same situation.
Wow.
Eye-opening for sure.
Yeah.
A lot of people didn't know it was happening. John, thank you. And we want to hear from you. This is a community project. If you have an idea for our Vegas Lost series you'd like John to check out, or maybe a comment on something you've seen here, you can email those over to John. The address is John@news3lv.com. And we also have a new Vegas Lost hotline. That number is 702-909-2138. And John just walked out the studio door. In a couple of minutes, he'll be logging onto our News 3 Facebook page to take your questions and comments live.